Can we say don't depend on the man and still expect her to build a healthy relationship later?
Absolutely. She can have a great relationship with a cat or a dog. She can do her thing, be a cat lady. She can be a dog mom, and she could just live her life in complete chaos. Yeah. Depending on who she's trying to have a relationship with. But if she's trying to have a relationship with a bona fide man with some SOD in his life, that's structure, order, and decorum, hell no. Ain't no man trying to deal with an independent woman. Simps do. Suckers, panda bears, lames, betas. Yep. That's the recipe for those type of dudes. So at the end of the day, I mean, people act like there's no effect. There's a cause and effect. If you raise your daughters to be a particular way, she's tailor made for particular outcomes. And people like to think you can raise them the way you raise, because nobody thinks the way they're raising is wrong. Everybody thinks that they're doing what's best for their kid. But at the end of the day, what determines how you raise your child is their outcomes. And most people don't want to be responsible for the outcomes. I'm thinking about the outcomes. And so I say, got to reverse engineer it. As a man who wants a wife, what do men who want wives want? And now we got a lot of suckers running around the internet talking about, I'm okay with my woman being strong and independent. I'm okay with my woman having a career, being a six-figure earner, and yada, 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 having all these businesses and being on her hustle. What he's telling y'all is he's gay. He just won't say it. I'll stop there.
Hey, so is it possible for a woman to be independent and also have the desire to be a wife?
No. Oxymoron.
No. Will and I, Viz, we've gone back and forth on this subject quite a few times on his live because of the balance. He has told me on several occasions that I'm raising my daughters up for failure. Was that the word you used that one day? Because I push certain things for my daughters, but I do, especially with my youngest, because I have more governance over her being younger, is I tell her to go get hers, but still be receptive for that man who may be coming. That's going to vet her and then her being in her role. But until then, I do teach my girls to strive and, be self-sufficient. Because what are they supposed to do in the interim? What's my 19-year-old supposed to do, fellas, until that man comes along? Just be worthless? So That's what I'm saying. For me, it's that conundrum of telling my daughters, pushing them to go get it, and then be available for that man to receive it. So.
Question to you, said real quick. Is it possible for a woman to get a man and a husband before she's 20?
Possible or probable? Which one do you want to go with?
Possible is the question.
Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Is it possible for her to get a husband before she's 20 and the relationship lasts?
Yes, my parents did it for about 30 years. So,
although times have changed a lot and things can be pretty difficult for people that age to maintain consistency and commitment over the duration of their lives, it's still possible. But because we don't champion it, we don't encourage it, we don't train for it, that's why it doesn't happen.
Now, is that because of the immediate circle that person would be in? Because I'm sure that's still a thing in certain circles or demographics.
I think it's because of weak ass daddies.
What that couples would get married early and have a lasting relationship?
No, I don't care if you get married. I mean, y'all push marriage. I don't, and I don't discourage people from getting married. If they want to get married, kudos, do your thing. But because we don't prioritize a young lady getting with a man like out of high school, we prioritize her to delay that process. Hey, go to college. Well, going to college is usually the enemy of getting a husband for Black women. You push your daughter to college, she probably not gonna get a husband.
Let me ask you a question, Will. Is it the enemy because of the way women begin to behave after they have accolades and a high earning salary, or is it the enemy because it's just the enemy? Because there has to be a reason behind it. Many times the reason why men don't really appreciate that, because we don't care about your degrees and money. I think we all agree about that. And I think that sometimes women kind of begin to look down on men, especially if he's less educated and less earning than she is. And she kind of weaponizes her education and her earnings to a degree. Not all women, but some. So, I mean, is being educated really the enemy, or is it some women's behavior upon matriculation?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, and then maybe we gotta let them circle the room, because I think, we don't want to derail it too much what other brothers answer. High schools across America and colleges and universities across America are pretty much liberal. They're democratic. So when kids, after 4 years of high school and then 4 years of most colleges, feminism is already fully embedded in them. Whether they want to acknowledge it or not, whether they think it's present or not, it's there. And the liberals dominate the education system. And if you've been indoctrinated for damn near a decade, and then you've been encouraged for almost a decade to have a career, there's no room for a husband unless he's of a particular ilk. And 99% of women ain't cut for that type of dude. So that's just the bottom line.
So, Will, let me ask you this. Statistically, people who graduate college are more likely to become married, right? All the other races, or most of the other races, have figured it out somehow to not get married, right? There's the saying where you find your husband in college, right? Ring before spring and all that. So would you say that it's just the way that the value system is throughout the family? Maybe they grew up in a single parent household or something else. I don't think it's the college itself, because like I said, people who graduate college are more likely to become married. So it's got to be something else that we're doing wrong.
Well, you got to understand, pretty much half of the country is Republican and pretty much half the country is Democratic, right? So you're going to have high numbers, and I'm pretty sure the numbers of couples that are getting married are going to be far more on the conservative side than they are on the liberal side. It's just the way our country is set up. And yes, I blame colleges, I blame high schools, and I blame the Black community, because when you look at those statistics, it ain't gonna be us that's contributing to the successful marriages or just people getting married. It's going to be people who ain't us. And the more educated our women are, the less likely they're willing to submit to anyone that's not paying them. So you put that woman.
You said that. I'm glad you said that. And the reason why is because that circles, and I'm sorry, JR, I'm gonna be quiet so we can move on, but that circles back to exactly why I asked you that question. It's because in our community, we pedestalize, Black women in particular, pedestalize education and earning more. And they equate that to being more valuable on the sexual marketplace. And that is a horrible conflation and a terrible misnomer and just a terrible misunderstanding. And in other cultures, while feminist ideals align with that, but in other cultures, they have figured out that we just going to school and trying to get some money so we can get a house and we can raise our kids and whatever it is. But for some reason in our community, Black women have been using education and earning potential as a weapon against the Black man and using it as a reason to not submit. Now, if we can change the mindset surrounding education and money and embed into the mind of our young queens that's coming out of our households that, hey, real men don't care about your money and education. I'm telling you to do this so you'll be able to take care of yourself. Then I think, we might have a better shot at producing some more cooperative women from our community. And that's just kind of my take on it.